I usually don't give Dan a title for a speech because I'm allergic to titles, and he knows that, so he didn't ask me this time. But this time I have a title. A Tale of Two Megillas. Okay, something very interesting. Purim, we celebrate Purim on Yud Daled, right? Tesvav in walled cities. Now what happened on Yud Daled? Nothing really, right? The Jews rested, right? The Yeshua actually happened on the 13th and the 14th, right? The 13th for everywhere else, and then we had an additional day to fight. And then Nachu, we rested on the 15th. It's very interesting. It's very, very different to all Chagim, which are in the Torah. Chanukah is similar to this as well. There's a reason for that. In all Chagim in the Torah, the Chag is on the actual day of the Yeshua, right? Sort of, it's like a spiral. You pass by the coordinates, you hit the coordinate. Tesvav Nisan is the day of Yetzias Mitzrayim. Shavuos, the day of Matan Torah. But here, it's the day after. It's the day after. What happened the day after? So, you all know Mishnah in Megillah Daf Yud Zayin. Hakora es ha-Megillah lemafreya lo yatsa. Someone reads the Megillah retroactively, out of order, right? Lo yatsa. He's not yatsa. So, there's a very big tzaddik in Poland called Meir Yechiel Ostrovtsa, Rebbe of Ostrovtsa. And he's a very, very big tzaddik and a huge, huge, huge Talmid Chacham, one of the Gedolim. And he writes, he said like this, he said a Chiddush during the First World War, what was going on. And he said, I'll tell you Pshat, he said, people who read the Megillah, and you read everything, it's boring. You come to the end, you come to the Yeshua, wow, Gevaldik, amazing, right? We're missing the boat. The whole purpose of the Megillah, the story of Purim, was to teach us that every tiny, minute detail, right, was orchestrated, was a Kadosh Baruch Hu talking to us. A Kadosh Baruch Hu the Geula was there from the beginning, and we have to realize that. Like Reb Hirschfeld explained so beautifully on the Yom Yun, that on Purim, we learned how to hear. Right? You can see something, an entire picture, turn on the light, and there's the idea of shmiya, of putting things together, one thing after another, till you can form this picture. And that's what we learned on Purim, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not just there to save us whenever we need His help, and He comes there. We actually internalize this concept on Purim, that He's everywhere. He's there with us the whole time. He is the Teva. Right? And the Yeshua was there before the Tsar even started. And we understood this, and it was such an incredible simcha, he says. That was the simcha. Of course, the Yeshua itself is worthy of a simcha, but the simcha of Purim was our internalizing and realizing this relationship that we have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that He's there with us the whole time. And the whole thing is one giant simcha. It wasn't Yud Gimel. That was the Yeshua. The Yeshua started some 15 years earlier than that. And therefore he says, when a person reads the story of Bigsan V'Seresh or the party of Vashti, he should be jumping with joy as much as when he's reading about the actual Yeshua at the end. That's Akaras HaMegillah Mafreya Lo Yotze. But then he adds and he says, and this is not just referring to Megillas Esther. So this is true with all the Megillas that happen in our lives. He says, we go through Megillas. He was going through Megillah World War I. He says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, one thing we learned from the Megillah, he says, the Jews didn't know this before. And they, in fact, they read the Megillah L'Mafreya. So the Jews were taught a lesson. At the end, they realized, wow, this all fits together, it's incredible. And it was a Chiddush. But the simcha was that they learned that that's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with us. And from then on, we have to see that. We have to live the present. They say a difference between Rav Kook, I think they say in the name of Rav Kook, the difference between a Navi and a Chacham is the Navi sees the future, and the Chacham can actually feel the present. He understands the present. And he says we shouldn't be Korah the Megillah L'Mafreya. After it happens, we should stand this. We shouldn't be passive, just watchers, bystanders. We have to be actively part. Recognize that everything that's happening is a Kadosh Baruch Hu talking to us and doing something, and we should take a part. Mordechai told Esther, if you're not going to take part, it's going to come. You may just not be a part of it. We have an opportunity, he says, to be a part of it. Let's be active participants in that Geula, because we have the ability to read it and to hear. That's the Ostrovse. I think that it's clear to everyone, to all of us, that we are currently living through a Megillah, no less incredible than Megillas Esther. Currently living through this. And we cannot, chas v'sholom, allow ourselves to be passive, to be bystanders, just waiting to see the outcome. Rather, we have to live the moment. We have to listen to Kodesh Baruch Hu talking to us and feel the process and be a part of this process. Now, how can we not be amazed? Just be amazed and incredibly moved by what's currently happening now. Dafkan Parshas Zochar, this Megillas Amalek, one of the biggest enemies of the Jewish people, and who knows how long, with so many more. How can we just not be modeh to Kodesh Baruch Hu and just feel that the most incredible things are happening right now, and we're a part of this. We're witnessing this, and we're actually a part of it, especially here in Eretz Yisrael. Which brings me to a very, very, very beautiful idea, which Rav Kook says in his Sefer Ein Ayah, his Perush on Agaditas and Maseches Brachos and Shabbos. It's a strange Gemara. Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, the Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Eizu ben Olam Haba. It's Gemara in Brachos Daf Daled. Eizu ben Olam Haba, Zeh Somech, Geula, L'Tefilla, Shel Arvis. Somebody who says, Go Al Yisrael, right next to Shemon Esrei, Arvis, he's a ben Olam Haba. What does that mean? So Rav Kook explains beautifully. He says that, of course, we all know the focus of the Jewish person should be on Geulas Yisrael, the salvation, the Shechina. Right? He says, when it's Shachris time, Shachris means when everything is light, everything goes well, no parnasa problems, no health issues, everything's great. It's not so hard to focus on Geula. A person has it all, he does klal work. It's easy. But he says that's not the case when it's Arvis, when it's dark, when things are not so easy. People have parnasa issues, health, emotional, whatever else. Arvis, olam hazeh. It's very, very hard to focus on Geula when I have so much to focus on myself, so much to daven for myself. But he says a person who's still able, ba'arvis, to be somech Geula l'tefillah, that to understand that before he davens for his personal things, to daven for the Geulas Yisrael, that's a ben olam haba. That's someone who's really, really holding on a high level. He's a ben olam haba. That's what Rav Kook explains in Ein Ayah. Now, I have an incredible argosha. I haven't seen this written anywhere, but according to this parish in this Gemara, it comes out that I think so many people living, especially in Eretz Yisrael today, right now, are b'nei olam haba. Because maybe a long time ago, or not so long ago, this was a very difficult thing to achieve, to actually focus on Geulas Yisrael when we have so much. If you ask people today, especially today, mamish now, what's going on? What are they davening for? People are davening for Geula. Someone in this very yeshiva, came to me and said, I have so many things to worry about. Just yesterday. But he says, when I'm davening now, bring the Mashiach, bring us the Geula, the Beis HaMikdash, and that, God, don't forget about me. But it's beautiful. I'm saying that's a level of tzaddikim gemurim. And so many people are like that over here now. And it's the most amazing thing, and I see this as the greatest, the schus, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is lifting us. There's a Ramban at the end of Parshas Bo. Right at the end. It's mashma that he says, Tachlis is for everyone to recognize HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Teva. It's very hard. Some people are able to do it, some people aren't. But he says, times of Mashiach, everyone's going to recognize it. It's going to be obvious. And I feel that we're just there. It's obvious to people, and we're seeing it. But chas v'shalom, we shouldn't stand by just as passive onlookers. We're able to hear it. We're able to be a part of it. We have to be moedet HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to be mekadesh Shem Shemaim. Do whatever we can to be mekadesh Shem Shemaim and to help this process. And Be'ezer Hashem, we should be zoicha that this Purim, Tovshin Pevav, we shouldn't just witness. We should be part of the final Megillas Amalek and the coming of the Mashiach Tzidkeinu. Amen.